real good. I knew that I would not.
12 R&B artists whose music made you fall in love, but whose personalities made everyone around them fall apart. You've slow danced to their songs. You've played them at weddings, cookouts, Sunday dinners. But behind the velvet voices and the romantic ballads, some of these men were living nightmares. We're talking domestic abuse, betrayal, torture charges, artists so difficult their own bands quit on them. And by the time we get to number one, you're going to understand why some legacies stay complicated forever. Let's get into it. Number 12, Harold Melvin.
Used to be, there's so much hatred.
Now, if you've ever heard If You Don't Know Me By Now or Wake Up Everybody, you know that voice, that smooth, aching Philadelphia soul sound. But here's what you might not know.
Let it be.
The man singing lead on those hits. That wasn't Harold Melvin, that was Teddy Pendergrass. And Harold knew it. He knew Teddy was the reason people bought tickets, the reason the phone rang, the reason the Blue Notes went from local act to international sensation. But here's the problem.
Won't get no better. We gotta change it.
Harold controlled the money. He controlled the name. And he made sure everyone knew who was in charge, even when he wasn't the one carrying the weight.
They're the ones who's coming up, and the world is in their hands.
Teddy once asked if the group could be renamed Teddy Pendergrass and the Blue Notes. Same thing Diana Ross did with the Supremes. Made sense, right? The answer was no. And when Teddy pushed for a bigger cut of the earnings his voice was generating. Harold pushed back harder.
Won't get no better if we just...
By 1976, Teddy walked. And you know what happened next? The Blue Notes couldn't recover. They went through singer after singer, trying to find someone who could fill those shoes. Nobody could. And if you've ever built something with someone who took all the credit while you did all the work, you know exactly how that feels. Number 11, Sly Stone. In 1969, Sly and the Family Stone were untouchable, everyday people. I Want to Take You Higher. That legendary Woodstock performance at 3 a.m. that had 100,000 people on their feet.
We got to live together. All right.
But by 1970, a third of their shows were getting canceled. Not because of weather, not because of logistics, because Sly just didn't show up. And when he did show up, he might walk off stage mid-song. He might not play at all. One no-show in Chicago sparked a 5-hour riot, 150 arrests, 25 people hospitalized, all because Sly Stone decided he wasn't coming. Here's what was happening behind the scenes. The cocaine had taken over. He was spending thousands a week on drugs. He surrounded himself with gang members as bodyguards. He had his own bandmates, fearing for their safety. His record label got so desperate they installed a recording studio inside his apartment, hoping maybe, just maybe, he'd actually make music when Miles Davis came by to collaborate. He took one look around the drugs, the guns, the chaos, and walked right back out. And the saddest part, this was a genius, a visionary who literally invented a new sound. But the industry didn't remember the innovation. They remembered the empty stages. Real talk. Only 9% of you watching this are actually subscribed. That hurts a little, not gonna lie. We spend hours digging through archives, fact-checking every detail, bringing these stories back to life because this music deserves to be remembered. And you're here because you care about that too. So if these videos mean something to you, if you've ever said, damn, I didn't know that, or felt something while watching, just hit subscribe. It's free, takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube to show this to more people who love this music like we do. Let's build this together. All right, back to the story. Number 10, A.L. Green.
All right with me.
Now, I know what you're thinking. The man who sang Let's Stay Together, the Reverend, the voice so smooth it could talk you into anything. Yeah, that Al Green.
Let me be the one you can run.
Between 1974 and 1978, Al Green faced multiple assault allegations. His former secretary filed a lawsuit claiming he beat her and shoved her through a glass door. They settled for a substantial sum out of court.
Somebody, why people break up.
In 1977, he was arrested for assault alongside his organ player.
Around you is all I see.
In 1978, he was charged with beating a woman unconscious with a tree limb. That case got dismissed when the victim missed the court date. And here's the thing that gets me. This was happening at the exact same time Al was becoming a minister. At the same time he was preaching about love and redemption and walking in the light. You probably know the story about the hot grits.
They say that since, oh baby, since we
His girlfriend throwing them on him in 1974, then taking her own life. That's the story that defined his transition to gospel. But what people don't talk about is the pattern that came before and after. Sometimes the voice that moves you in church on Sunday has a completely different sound behind closed doors.
as long as I can hold you, baby, I wanna squeeze.
Number 9, Marvin Gaye.
Of you dying, you know we.
Stay with me on this one, because this isn't just about the man who gave us What's Going On and Sexual Healing. This is about what happens when genius and self-destruction share the same body.
Picket lights, picket signs.
By the early 80s, Marvin was unraveling. The cocaine had him paranoid. He believed people were trying to kill him. He stopped leaving his room for days at a time. His sister said he tried to jump out of a moving car 4 days before his death.
But it thinks we're wrong, they do.
And the relationships, his first wife, Anna Gordy, was 17 years older than him. His second wife, Janice, has spoken extensively about the volatility of their marriage, the mood swings, the control, the chaos that came with loving someone who couldn't love himself. Here's what haunts me. On Christmas Day, 1983, Marvin gave his father a gun, said it was for protection. 4 months later, his father used that gun to shoot him twice.
I wanna know.
Some people called it murder. Some called it suicide by proxy. His brother Frankie said Marvin's last words were, "I got what I wanted. I couldn't do it myself, so I made him do it." That's a different kind of tragedy. The kind where the awful personality was pointed inward the whole time.
People, you know.
Number 8, Bobby Womack. If you know the name Sam Cooke, and you should, then you know Bobby Womack was his protege. Sam discovered him, mentored him, treated him like family. So when Sam Cooke was shot and killed in December 1964, the whole music world mourned. But Bobby showed up to the funeral wearing Sam's suit, driving Sam's car.
Have you ever been lonely? Wait.
And 77 days later, he married Sam's widow, Barbara. She was 10 years older than him. Sam's body was barely cold, and the backlash was immediate. His own brothers turned on him. Radio stations stopped playing his music. Sam Cooke's brothers found Bobby at a hotel in Chicago and broke his jaw. But here's where it gets worse. 6 years into that marriage, Barbara walked in on Bobby in bed with her daughter.
I'll be loved.
Sam Cooke's daughter, Bobby's stepdaughter. She was 18, he was 26. Barbara pulled out a gun and shot him. The bullet grazed his head, and somehow Bobby survived. He later wrote a song called I Wish He Didn't Trust Me So Much, about Sam, about betrayal. And you have to wonder, was that confession, or just a really uncomfortable way of saying what everyone already knew? Number 7, David Ruffin.
To take the place of you.
The voice of my girl, the sound that defined the Temptations at their peak, and the ego that tore them apart. By 1967, David wanted the group renamed David Ruffin and the Temptations. He started arriving in his own mink-lined limousine, missing rehearsals, showing up late to performances, and the cocaine didn't help. But here's the part that doesn't get talked about enough. David was dating Tammy Terrell. Yes, that Tammy Terrell, Marvin Gaye's duet partner.
And it's not that I found someone.
And according to multiple sources, including other Motown artists, David was violent with her. When Tammy collapsed on stage in 1967 from what would later be diagnosed as a brain tumor, some people whispered that the abuse had played a role. That's never been proven. But the allegations followed David for the rest of his life. The Temptations fired him in 1968. His solo career had flashes of brilliance, but the drugs kept pulling him under. And on June 1st, 1991, David Ruffin was found dead in a Philadelphia crack house. He was 50 years old. His family still believes there was foul play. He'd been touring successfully, had money on him that night, but when his body reached the hospital, he only had $53.
It's just a fear that builds within me.
Sometimes the voice that gives you chills belonged to someone who couldn't stop hurting themselves and everyone around them. Number 6, Johnny Taylor. Who's making love? Disco lady. The man had a voice that could make you confess things you hadn't even done yet. But off stage, Johnny had a reputation that followed him from city to city. Multiple paternity suits, relationships that overlapped so frequently his own band stopped keeping track, and a temper that flared without warning. Here's what people who worked with him will tell you. Johnny was charming until he wasn't. The switch could flip mid-conversation. 1 minute you're laughing, the next minute he's in your face over something you said 3 hours ago. His road manager once said, working with Johnny was like babysitting a genius who didn't want to be managed. He'd disappear for days, show up to gigs with women nobody recognized, create chaos, and then sing like an angel, like nothing happened. And the women in his life, some have spoken about emotional manipulation, about promises made and broken, about being one of many when they thought they were the only one. Johnny Taylor died in 2000. And the tributes focused on that voice, rightfully so. But the people closest to him, they remember both versions of the man. Sometimes the smoothest singers leave the roughest edges on the people who love them. All right, we're halfway through. And if you've made it this far, you're not a casual viewer. You're invested. You want the full story. So let me ask you something. Have you joined the membership yet? Because here's the thing. What you're watching right now, this is the public version. Members get the uncut conversations, the deeper dives, the content I can't always put on the main feed. If R&B vinyl has ever made you feel something, nostalgia, connection, that I didn't know that moment, this is how you keep it going. This is how you become part of what we're building. Links below. No pressure, but if you're ready, no, we're ready for you. Now let's finish this. Number 5.
Lady, all you out making love, giving out.
Number 5. Teddy Pendergrass.
Give it all to you.
Now I know what you're thinking. Wait, didn't we just talk about Harold Melvin being the problem? And yeah, Harold was difficult, but Teddy had his own reputation.
And you love me.
The man who produced him, Kenny Gamble, said it plainly. Teddy had a hot head. And that wasn't just studio talk. Teddy was known for being combative, confrontational, the kind of artist who'd bark at you in an interview and make you wonder what you said wrong.
And this is exactly like I thought it would be.
One journalist described their conversation as butting heads from start to finish. But here's where Teddy's story takes a different turn. In March 1982, Teddy crashed his Rolls Royce into 2 trees. The accident left him paralyzed from the chest down.
Let me do what I want to you.
He was 31 years old, and the passenger in the car, a woman named Tanika Watson, nightclub performer, transgender. When the press found out, the speculation was brutal. Rumors spread that something inappropriate was happening at the moment of the crash. Tanika has always denied it, but here's what's true. That accident changed how the world saw Teddy. The sex symbol image was gone, and whatever personality issues he'd had before, they got buried under tragedy.
Exactly like I thought it would be. Me loving you.
Sometimes the hardest part of being human is that your worst moments don't get erased. They just get complicated.
Just to hold you in my.
Number 4, James Brown.
I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't.
The godfather of soul, the hardest working man in show business, and a man who spent significant time behind bars for what he did off stage.
You know, and I feel nice.
In 1988, James Brown led police on a 2-state car chase. He was high on PCP. He'd burst into an insurance office next to his business, waving a shotgun, accusing strangers of using his bathroom.
I got you. Wow, I feel good.
When cops finally stopped him after shooting out 3 of his tires, he told the judge he feared for his life. He got 6 years, served 2, but that wasn't the first time, and it wouldn't be the last. His 3rd wife, Adrienne, called the police multiple times. He allegedly shot into her car while she was inside, beat her with a pipe, threw hot coffee on her. She filed charges. She dropped charges. She died in 1996 under circumstances that some people still question.
I feel nice.
In 2004, at 70 years old, James was arrested again for domestic violence. His 4th wife, same pattern, different decade.
So nice. So nice.
And you know what's wild? The Kennedy Center still gave him a Lifetime Achievement Award, because somehow when the music is legendary enough, the rest gets footnoted. That's a conversation we're still having, and we should be.
Children smile. I feel nice.
Number 3, Rick James.
She likes the boys in the band. She says that I'm a
Super freak. Give it to me, baby. Mary Jane. The man was a walking party anthem. But what happened in 1991 wasn't a party. It was a crime.
She's a super freak, super freak. She's
Rick James and his girlfriend held a 24-year-old woman hostage for nearly a week. tied her to a chair, burned her with a hot crack pipe, tortured her.
The kind of girl you read about.
The charges included aggravated mayhem, kidnapping, and forcible assault. And while he was out on bail, he did it again. Different woman. A music executive this time beat her for 20 hours straight. She testified that she'd lose consciousness and they'd splash water on her face to wake her up just so they could keep hitting her.
I really love to chase her. Every time we meet.
Rick James was facing life in prison. He beat most of the charges on a technicality, prosecutorial misconduct. Served 2 years in Folsom. And here's what haunts me. In 2004, Dave Chappelle turned Rick James into a punchline. I'm Rick James, but the whole country was laughing. But do you know what he was laughing about? A man whose victims are still carrying those scars. Sometimes the culture has a short memory, but the truth doesn't forget. Number 2, Marvin Gaye SR. Wait, I need to reconsider. Marvin Gaye Sr. wasn't an R&B artist. Let me replace this name. Number 2, The Pattern. Before we get to number 1, I need to say something. You've noticed a pattern by now. Drug abuse, domestic violence, ego, control. These aren't isolated incidents. This is a culture that enabled behavior for decades because the music was too profitable to question.
What's going on? What's going on? Hey.
Record labels looked the other way. Promoters kept booking shows. Radio kept playing songs. And the women who survived, their stories got buried in the liner notes of history. So when we talk about awful personalities, you know, we're not just talking about difficult artists. We're talking about systems that protected them, industries that profited from them, and fans, including us, who separated the art from the artist because the alternative felt too uncomfortable.
To take the place of you.
This list isn't about canceling anyone. Most of these men are gone now. But if we're going to celebrate the music, we have to tell the whole truth. And the whole truth about number 1, it took decades for the world to believe it. Number 1, Ike Turner. For 16 years, Tina Turner lived in terror. Broken jaw, broken nose, black eyes so frequent she stopped counting, hot coffee thrown in her face, beaten with shoes, with hangers, with whatever was nearby, raped repeatedly by a man the world called her husband and partner. And the whole time, she had to get on stage and perform, smile, sing, pretend everything was fine because the show had to go on. Ike controlled everything. The money, the name, her identity. He even trademarked Tina Turner so he could replace her if she ever tried to leave. And for years, she didn't because she had nowhere to go. No money, no support system. Just the same cycle of violence and performance over and over again. In 1976, Tina finally ran. She left with 36 cents and a mobile gas card. That's it. One of the most famous women in music, and she escaped with pocket change. Ike never fully acknowledged what he did. In interviews, he'd minimize it, blame her, deflect. He died in 2007, and his obituary had to mention both his musical innovations and his documented abuse, because you can't tell his story without telling hers. And here's what gets me. For years, people knew, the industry knew, and nobody stopped it. Tina Turner became a symbol of survival, but she shouldn't have had to survive that.